Welcome back to another live here with design bundles. We are so excited for this one. I've been talking about it actually for a little bit. We are going to screen print, if you will. We're going to be using two different colors. So we've been talking about, like I said, for a little bit, but today we are not using regular screen print ink. We are actually using the new Sublimation ink from Artistry. So the really cool thing about this is if you guys don't have a sublimation printer, but you're wanting to get into it or sublimate in some sort of way, I think this will be a ton of fun. So we are going to, number one, this is going to teach you how to screen print with two different colors. Even if you want to use regular screen print ink, there's lots of different types of screen print ink out there on the market, but we're going to put it to the test. So actually, if you guys caught it, Michael actually did this the other day, doing it a normal traditional way, but today I'm going to do a spin on it using foam brushes. So we're going to try it out again, and there's a few different things I'm going to do, including our third layer. I'm going to use adhesive HTV, so that way we can kind of play with a few different elements. So let's go ahead and dive right in. As you guys are joining, welcome. Tell me where you guys are crafting from today. How is the weather and what are you guys doing this summer? Any big plans for the 4th? Now today in this giveaway, I will be announcing the winner at the very end. So we are going to be giving away a tumbler press, and then we're also going to be giving away 5 Gold Plus memberships for an entire year. So 5 lucky winners there, and then 1 for the 7-in-1 tumbler press. So there is a total of 6 winners. The way that how you had to enter was you had to be a part of, there was a link, there was a QR code and all of that in our last slide. So make sure you guys have already participated in that. So stick around, we're gonna draw a winner at the very end, like I said. And of course, we're doing Q&A as usual. So a few things I wanna do before I jump right into this is I wanna show you guys the shorts. So if you guys were here on our last live, we did a bleach, we sublimated a pair of shorts that only had around 23% of polyester. 23% is a very low number, and it's inside of these jeans. So not all jeans have them, so you have to make sure you pay attention. And the higher the count, the more strongly that sublimation is going to come in. But I still think it gave it a really cool effect. So hopefully you guys can see that here. And I'll even drop this camera down here to show you guys a better view. So hopefully you guys can see that. So with it, and this has already went through the wash and everything. So you don't have to even bleach it. You can definitely just leave it as is. You can see that design. So you guys can see that leopard print. I think it came out super cool. So it's just got that very transparent look to it. So I definitely recommend if you guys are going to do this, make sure you guys have some sort of poly. It really doesn't matter. Just a little bit of poly is going to help it cling to it. So obviously the more polyester, the brighter it's going to be. The designs that I do recommend for this is going to be like your cheetah print, something like stripes, stars, something that has a pattern to it. That's what I would recommend doing. And then if you want to, you can bleach it out and then throw it in the wash. But I really do love the way these came out. So you guys let me know your thoughts on these down below as well. Let me know what you guys think. All right, so thank you guys so much for joining, like I said. So let's go over the supplies really quickly, and then we'll jump over to Cricut Design Space. By the way, guys, you guys already know Brittany, right? She's down in the comments all of the time. She's actually running this live today, so make sure you guys give her some love, hit the like button, give us some hearts, and give her some support while she runs this live for the very first time. So we are so excited. Thank you, Brittany and Agata, as always. So once again, you guys give her some love down below. All right, so supplies that I'm using today is I'm using these speedball screens. These are what you normally would use. You can obviously make them yourself, and there is off brands. We've linked everything I'm using down below, but I'm using some speedball screens, and I actually have 2. If you're using more than one color, I'd recommend keeping a couple on hand because you're going to have to run to the sink, rinse it out, completely clean this thing, and then go again. So keep a couple of these on hand. So I've got these. I've already prepped up one of them right here. We're going to do this one obviously live, but as you can see, I'm going to turn it around really quickly, is I've got these little stars here. These are registration marks, if you will. That's going to help us line up, and I'm going to show you guys how to do that in Cricut Design Space here in a bit. And so we are using, I'm using permanent adhesive vinyl. This is going to help give you a stronger bond with your screen. So I've got that already. We'll read this in just a sec. a squeegee, of course, and then, you know, normally we even tape all the way around this, but because of the way that I'm doing it, you don't need to tape the entire thing. I'll talk about that in a little bit, but I do have some painter's tape. You can use washi tape, something that we're going to use for that registration to block it off on the t-shirt. Once again, I'll show all that here in a bit. I've got some little foam brushes here. You can get these in multiple sizes, so you can work with accordingly what you need. And then we have the Artistry Sublimation paint. Now, once again, if you guys want to actually do screen print, follow along doing the exact same things, except for using the foam, go ahead and use that squeegee. So you're just going to do the two colors this exact same way. Another thing that I'm going to throw in here is using a mat. So I've done this before when I was using Chocolateur ink a long time ago. So personally on my own, I've tried it using a Cricut mat to help hold that t-shirt in place. So I thought we could test this today, but what I may do to kind of help with some bleeding and stuff, because this ink is a lot thinner than normal screen print ink, I'm going to use some paper to help kind of absorb that a little bit. So I'm going to see if that helps with it. And also if we go in with a light hand, I'm thinking we shouldn't really have a whole lot of bleed. So we're going to test it. I have no idea. I'm going in blind doing this today, just to put it to test and see if it would be possible, because the really cool thing about this is Artistry, if you go over to their website, they've actually created a color chart for you. So it teaches you how to combine these colors to create a whole variety. So if you get their colors, it comes with 5 colors. And with this, you can create, I think she's got like 20 colors. So you can really get some purples, lighter pinks, and all those things. And white, you guys, if you're familiar with sublimation, there's not really a white sublimation, but what it does is it will lighten a color. So that's what that's about. I think I've went over all of these things. I am using the Cricut Easy Press 10 by 12 today, 385 for 40 seconds. I'm using a Cricut t-shirt. You want something with a high polyester, you can even do those Gildan 50/50 if you wanted to. All right, and then a Cricut pad. I think I've covered everything here. So let's go and jump on over to Cricut Design Space so I can show you guys how I prepped up those registration marks. I see that, love. Thank you so much for those hearts. And thank you guys so much for joining. I'm so excited you guys are here. And this is the design we are using today, okay? Now, the one thing I do recommend, this is with an entire bundle. So with this design, it came inside a great big bundle. Now, keep in mind, Wednesday, I will be back here live on Wednesday because our dollar deal. So if you guys love our monthly dollar deal, it is this Wednesday. So make sure you guys join that. But I wanted to mention it because there is more 4th of July files in there. So make sure you guys check that out. But what I recommend is when working with screen print or stencils is use something that doesn't have a whole lot of intricate. So you want to make sure you don't have a whole lot of tiny little lines or dots to work with. You want to work with nice, big, bold pieces. Now, the thing I wanted to talk about here was that spin. I talked about using the adhesive, or I keep saying adhesive vinyl, HTV iron-on, if you will. You could technically screen print 3 colors here, but I don't want to. For one, I think with the screen print, if you layer the colors on top of each other, they're going to muddy each other out. So you want to keep them separate. So if you notice, I'm going to go ahead and click on this one right here, that black piece, and I'm going to get rid of it. These are separate, so they're not going to overlap and they're not going to muddy. So when you work with designs, make sure they're also separate. So with this one here, the way it would line up, it could possibly just look a little funny. So what I decided to do was use, so it'll just bring in another element, and I think it'll be a cool effect. So we'll see how it works out, if it even does work. So you guys let me know in the comments below, do you think this whole thing is going to work out or not? All right, so to get our registration marks, what I did was I went ahead and hid this piece, and then it just left me with, I'm going to go ahead and delete those registration marks so I can show you guys again. So I'm going to go ahead and detach them, and then we're going to grab those stars, and I'm going to hit delete, and then I'm going to go ahead and do that same thing. Actually, I could hide them. That would have been a whole lot easier, right? So what I'm going to go ahead and do is I got rid of the red, so I'm going to show you that. So the way that I create my registration marks is I'm going to go ahead and come over here to shapes. You could use a circle, you could use a square, you could use whatever you want to. Ultimately, we just need them to line up the 2 different colors. So what we're going to do is I'm going to use this star here, and then I'm going to go ahead and size it down. I did 5 inches, so I went up here to my width and 1/2 inch, 5 inches, 0.5 5, enter, and then I brought it over here. Now, when you start to do these registration marks, don't get way out here. Don't get way up here. Don't get way out here. And then also don't get too close because we need that gap for our tape, right? So somewhere right about in here is pretty good. Once again, keeping a nice border around here, but not getting too far off because we've got to get this onto your screen without, running off the sides, all right? So you're going to get that first one down, and then you're going to come over here to duplicate. Duplicate. We're going to slide this one right over here. Now, if you don't want to have things super duper perfect, you can go ahead and select both stars, hold down that shift, grab both of those. You can come up to that alignment, and then I'm going to align to the bottom. So both of these are exactly the same. And then I went ahead and attached it right away. So then at this point, I duplicate it again, and then I will select this one. It's already selected. Hold down the shift. I'm going to grab that next one, and we're going to go to align, and we're going to center those. So those are stacked on top. You can't tell that there's two there, but they're together. So once again, I'll kind of eyeball that, make sure it's where I want it to be. And then while both are selected, I'll go ahead and duplicate it again. Now those will separate, but while they're still selected, we're going to go ahead and go to align. We're going to center them right back up. And then we're going to bring them down here. So I'm just going to try to pay attention and align those up with my other ones somewhere right about here. So now what I'm going to go ahead and do is one layer is going to be for the blue one, and then one layer is going to be for the red. So if you go over here and you select, I'm going to go ahead and let go of those. If I do this, this is one of the bottom ones. And then this right here, I think it's this way, right? Yes. So up and then bottom. So if I select the top and just one of the bottoms, obviously you see it's just doing that there. Actually, nope, those are both bottoms. If I select this one, and I want to say this one, you want to make sure you're grabbing a top. See how it's above the top? And then if I hit select again, now it's a bottom. It doesn't matter if it just grabs these two because they're attached across the way. And so if we go ahead and do attach now, those 4 pieces are connected. And then we are going to select our red sunglass piece, and we're going to go ahead and hit attach. So now you notice they're red. And so if I move those out of the way, these ones are gray. So what I'm going to go ahead and do, and I can actually just select over all of these ones. We're going to hit attach, and now they're blue. So we ultimately have these. So whenever I go to do this, they're going to line up perfectly. So that's how you're going to create those registrations. So if you're ever working with any sort of stencil, whether you're creating it for signs or whether you're doing this right here and you're using regular screen print or whatever it may be, chalk paste, this is how you can create those registration marks. All right, so now that we have all of this stuff, you would come in here and then you would undo that black piece and you'd be ready to go. So whenever you go to cut out, and if you're using the screens here, you want to mirror them because whenever we go to, you'd mirror it just like you were using iron-on. So I'm actually using adhesive vinyl, which we never mirror. But when you work with a stencil, you do want to mirror it because you're actually going to place it on the back side. All right, so we can go ahead and get rid of this screen right here. So we'll go ahead and get rid of that really fast. There we go. Perfect. So let me go ahead and just show you really quick so you guys know what I'm talking about just a little bit closer. So when we put this on here, we're putting it on the back side of the screen where we're working. So ultimately, when we work from this side, it's correct. So mirror both. If you're going to cut out, obviously, any sort of iron-on, mirror it, and then mirror that adhesive vinyl. Alrighty, so here we go. So we're going to go ahead and prep up. So the very first thing that you want to do, I'm trying to make sure all my ducks are in a row here. The very first thing that you want to do, pull out any sort of moisture and remove any sort of lint. I did that before we've got started. All right, so this is where I'm going to prep up the next screen so you guys can see it. And then we will, I'm trying to make sure, let me get this over here. Prep up the next screen, and then we'll get ready to start working with this. So I'm going to get this guy out of our way. And this is the way that I did this, all right? So I'm going to go ahead and flip it over. So you're going to work on that back side of that screen, just like that. And I'm going to go ahead and bring you guys down so you guys can see what I got going on here. So with this, we're going to weed off what we normally would keep. So normally we would keep the inside pieces here, but what I do is I actually just get a corner, which I'm just going to poke a little tiny hole, but you want to be careful. If you poke a hole, don't get any ink up there at the top. So since this is such a small design, I don't need transfer. Now, if you had a bunch of intricate pieces, get your transfer tape first, weed it, and then get your transfer. But because it's not a whole lot of little bitty pieces, I can accomplish this just like so. So nice and easy. We're going to peel it. just like that. All right. So now we could go ahead and get this guy. It wanted to lay down by itself right away. And I'm like, hold on. And I'm trying not to stretch it and distort it since I already laid it down there. All right. Nice and slow. There you go. Perfect. Then we're just going to go ahead and smooth everything out. Once you get everything smoothed down on the back side, you're just double checking everything is good to go. We're going to flip it over. We're going to take our squeegee and we're going to rub it. See how that color's starting to change wherever you rub it? So you're just going to do this to make sure that it's adhered good to the screen. And so always do it from this side. Don't attempt to do it the other way, or you're going to push on that screen. So we're going to go ahead and rub across here just like so. All right. There we have it. Perfect. I think that's good enough. And where I really want to focus is these little bitty spots like that. All right. Perfect. So just like that. Now I'm going to go ahead and this will be our second piece. We're going to do the red first. So now let's go ahead and prep up our t-shirt. All right, we've got our pad down. I've got my Cricut Easy Press already ready to go because I'm going to dry in between the colors. So we're going to go ahead and do that. All right, now we're going to go ahead and get this guy lined up. Just like so. I'm using one of the Cricut blanks, like I said, one of the raglan tees. I really like these, super cute. Now, the one thing is, whenever you go to put your strings on, your stencils, you really should work in this direction here. I'm working sideways because I obviously made mine a little bit big. So when I do this, mine's not going to lay 100% flat. It's a little bit up because I'm having to get up on these sleeves. So please be mindful for that, because if I would have been like this, I would have not had any issues. So I wanted to go ahead and point that out right away as well. All right, so we've got everything smoothed out. So this is where I'm thinking. So number one, I'm going to ask y'all's opinion. What do y'all think we should do? And then we're just going to do it because we're testing this together. Number one, should we use just the mat? So the reason why I'm putting this in there, this is going to help us steady our t-shirt because it's got that stick. By the way, use an old mat. You can see this is gunked up and old as heck. So we're going to use this to help stabilize it, right? But I was also thinking to help absorb, if you think we're going to have any sort of bleed going on, do you think I should go ahead and put a piece of paper down first? All right, something like this, leaving a little bit of gap around to where the t-shirt still will cling to this, but this will help absorb that ink. What do y'all think? So should we do just the mat or the paper? So if you think we should add paper, just put paper. If you think we should just do the mat, just put the mat. I'm gonna let you guys say that for just a little bit and we'll see how that goes. By the way, my lighting is super terrible down here. I think when I work with anything other than just white stuff, it wants to dim itself down. All right, let's see here. It's always good to see you. Yes, Agata is down there in the comments. So they have switched positions today, and I think they are both doing amazing. Thank you. I'm running late, but here, hello, hello, hello. All righty. So what do you guys think of her videos? Thank you so much. All right, so I think, let's see, use the matte paper. I'm thinking paper too. I'm really just, okay. So I'm seeing a couple papers. I'm seeing papers rolling in here now. Good, 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 good. All right, so we're rolling with it. So now one thing I want you to also keep in mind when I get this in here, so we're going to go from the bottom. Y'all can't see me for just a second. Y'all see it start to come in. I'm going to try to keep my shirt straight. And hopefully, I think y'all can see me sliding that thing up in there. Perfect. So just making sure we're good just like that. All right. So whenever I go to do this, this is the other thing I'm keeping in mind. See all this gap? So you know we want to be around 3 fingers down. I need to be mindful, so I'm going to be taking it up a little bit higher than that so you guys can hopefully see that there. Go ahead and move this out of our way. Perfect. So now let's go ahead and get that tape down. This is my idea. All right. So to get, and y'all may find a better way to do this, but this is what I'm going to do. So to get our tape lined up on the t-shirt where we want it, because the tape, when we go to put the paint's going to go on the tape, and that's going to help us line up our next one, right? So how do we know where to put the tape on the shirt? So what we're going to do is this. I'm going to get me 2 pieces of this. I'm going to do one at a time. I'm going to fold over. See that? I'm folding over this piece, and then I'm going to fold over the next one, just like that. So it creates something like this. So I am going to get it down just like this. And then I'm going to do the same thing to the other side. So then whenever we stick it down to the shirt, it's going to go. So I tested this before I got started just to make sure this would even work. All right. Here we go. And let me see, I may have gotten a little too short on that. And I'm going to see if I bump up my ISO. Y'all give me just 2 seconds to see. Trying to see if I can brighten this up for y'all just a little bit. There we go. Perfect. I think that's better. Y'all let me know in the comments below. I think I got that still again. Perfect. And if we need to, I'll bump it back down here in a little bit just to kind of help that out a little bit. All right. Here we go. Now, one thing you can use too for an insert is you can use those cardboards that you can get at like Hobby Lobby, Michael's, and places like that. You can use those cardboard inserts as well. All right, so we've got our tape down. Here we go. So we're going to go ahead. And once again, like I said, I'm going to line it up just a little closer than I normally would. And I'm centering. So the way that I center this design, it's going to go center right here. All right, and I think I may bump the ISO down just a smidge, just a minute. So I think somewhere right about here, once again, we're learning at the same time. I think I'm going to go right here. I think that's going to seem pretty even. I'm going to rub down my tape. And once again, y'all give me a second. I'm going to bump that ISO back down 1, just to be safe. All right, perfect. All right, so here we go. So what I'm going to do is carefully put my hand underneath here, and I'm going to grab that tape to get it to let go on one side. Perfect. And then I'll do the same to the other side. Careful. All right, perfect. So see, once I get the one side, it's easier to obviously let it go on the other. And you're only going to have to do that once. So see that tape now? So I've got that tape down. I'm going to double check my shirt, make sure everything's nice and smooth. All right. So once you have that tape down, you only need to do it once. We don't have to do it both times. All right. So here we go, making sure nothing's on my shirt, and we're going to get going here. So let me go ahead and set this up here, and then we'll go to paint. So I'm going to line this guy back up here. So as long as that blue tape's under there, we are good to go. I think we're going to be around 3 fingers or so. I think we're going to be good. It looks pretty even. We're going to roll with it. So let's go ahead and get our paint really quick. I'll bring you guys back up here. So remember, with your paint, so it comes with a red and a blue already. But they actually, if you follow along, like I said, go to Artistry, their website, they have a color chart that shows how to make multiple colors. And she actually has more of a deeper red. So if you want it to not be so bright and you actually want more of a deeper red, you can definitely mix those colors around to do that. So you can play around if you want a lighter blue or darker blue, but it does come with blue and red. So it's perfect for us for today, right? So what we're going to be doing, which you can ultimately lighten those too with the white in there. I'm using just a scrap piece here, and I'm just going to go ahead and get that paint. I'm going to go ahead and move these out of the way since we're not using them. And so I'm just going to go ahead and get some of this paint down, shake it up just a little bit. So they call these sublimation acrylic paint is what they call them. So I'm just going to go ahead and get, now I have to remember, so this is going to be blue. We're going to be working with blue first. So I'm going to get one color at a time. Now what I did, if you guys caught on here, I actually did my adhesive vinyl red, and then I'm going to be doing it blue just so you guys could see the colors. And so I did my adhesive vinyl red for the blue one, and obviously vice versa. So I did that today as well, just so you can see it. So I'm going to get a little bit at a time. I can always come back and add more because a little goes a long way with this thing. So I'm going to go ahead and drop you guys back down. All right, so let's get started here. So we're just going to be nice and gentle. We don't want to shift anything around. And once again, we're going to try to dry in between. So what we're going to do is I'm going to go ahead and take my sponge here. So different sizes. I'm going to use this one right here. And so I'm going to bring this up so hopefully y'all can see. I'm going to get some of this paint on here. I'm starting to prime it, if you will. And then I'm going to come over here and daub off the excess because I don't want to get too crazy. So I'll just keep coming back and forth with this. I was trying to make sure y'all could see what I got going on here at the same time. Here we have it. All right, so here we go. And I didn't think about this, but hopefully we can see it through because this is blue paint and I'm putting it on blue painter's tape. So I didn't really think that through. So that's that. So maybe what I should do is I'm going to dab that with the red one and not the blue. So I'll do it before I switch. So here we go. So we're going right in here. I'm going to go ahead and dab right through here. So I'm just kind of pressing. And once again, I want to know in the comments below, do you guys think this is going to work? The really cool thing about this too is you can cause like an ombre. So if I wanted to do darker here and then lighter here, I could create like a whole ombre look. So that's something to think about as well. So if this is a success, it'd be amazing. Something fun for the kiddos for the summertime. All right, here we go. So I think we are good on that. We don't want to go too crazy. And so now what I'm going to do is before I lift that, I almost did, I would have wasted those registration marks. And I'm going to have to get another foam dauber. All right. And I possibly may have to get another paper if I didn't think that through as well. I don't think anything through. If you guys already know that, you guys know me. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and carefully get this one up here. I'm going to get me some red. And maybe I'm going to try to see if there's enough room to work with. And you've seen a little went a long way. I'm going to try to see if I can work with it here. All right, so chop off the excess because I'm just adding these. I really just need to be careful on this because I'm just adding these stars. So I'm going to come in here, get that one, making sure you're getting all 4 points. So we can see, is there 4 points, 5 points, whatever you got on the star. All right, so there we have it. So now what we're gonna do is very carefully, we're gonna get this one out of our way. And when it comes to these screens, and look, we've already, so I'm gonna attempt, and my things did not go through. Let's try to line it back up very carefully and push a little harder. So y'all bear with me. We're gonna push harder this time. Let me get some of this ink off so I can see where we're going. And I want to make sure I'm not getting it all over. So y'all bear with me for just 2 seconds. So we're already learning lessons here. All right, so I'm going to be careful because I'm getting it outside of my stencil. Okay. I just need it enough to where I can see what I'm doing. All right, here we go. We're going to try it again. Okay. I think that's enough to be able to see where we're going. All right. Perfect. All right, so let's go back in here again. And we're going to push harder this time. So far, we have learned that you really want to push into this. So definitely really, really give it some muscle there. So I'm going to get some more paint. All right. Now, you guys let me know, what has your temperature been? It has been so hot here. So whenever I turn on my studio lights, it gets so stinking hot in here. But I want to know, have you guys been in like the hundreds? Or maybe it's been super nice where you guys are. I want to know, did you guys do any big vacation plans so far this summer? You guys give me all of the details. All right. So I think this is good. Hopefully we did not mess this side up. Now, if it's messed up and this other side's a success, then obviously we know what we did. All right. I'm just pushing. I don't want to give up just yet. And then very carefully, boom, that, a lot better. So it almost gave that really cool, I don't know, I like it. It gives me that vintage vibes. So we're going to go ahead and roll with it. I'm going to get this one out of the way. All right. And I won't really be able to line those up so good like I thought. So hopefully we're going to be able to see what we're doing because of those registration marks. So we're needing to figure out something else for the registration. So you guys let me know. What do you think we could do? I don't want to mess up my screen. So I was trying to think before I got started. I'm just hovering above, by the way, guys. I'm not sticking this on here. I'm hovering above because what I ultimately would do, so this is what I would recommend to you, get a hair dryer. Get a hair dryer, not your heat gun. You don't want to burn your shirt. Get your hair dryer out and dry in between layers. Now, if you don't want to or you don't have one, do exactly what I'm doing. I've got a gap about that big. So I'm just drying these inks down. So let me know, what do you guys think we could do? Because I don't want to mess up the screen, but ultimately we need something that goes through and you can see on there. So maybe some white acrylic paint, you could go ahead and just squeegee through. So if we take those small squeegees, we could ultimately just squeegee a little piece on the stars, because you see, I'm not having to tape around the screen or anything like we normally would with our DIY screen hack. So ultimately, I think we could do those separately with a really small squeegee. So that's an idea as well. All right, so I'm just kind of hovering here, loving the distress. I do too. It is so cute. And I'm not just saying that because I made a mistake. I promise. It is super cute. Okay, so let's test it. I'm going to move this out of the way. And I'm going to start to feel to see. So it's still a little bit wet. And if you guys are like me, I live off of the baby wipes in the craft space. All right, so I'm going to give it just a few more seconds. And then I'm going to go ahead and move on to the next because I think it's going to be okay. I'm just trying to dry that down. I think I'm struggling a little bit with the, and I don't want to use, like I said, a hair dryer because my sound would be too high. So I'm going to attempt to do it like that. So now what we're going to do is very carefully, I'll just have to make sure once I go down, I'm committing to the other side because I'm going to carefully try to do this because that ink is still wet. Okay. So what I'm going to try to do is look underneath this guy and try to line this up. So fingers crossed. You know what I'm almost half determined to do? Well, I'm not going to do it, but I almost was like I could go back and trim this piece out because I'm not going to end up getting ink on it. But I think, I'm trying to see, how could I carefully line this guy up so I can see where I'm going? Because I still need it to line. Okay, we're going to do it because I want to be safe. Like safety first, guys. You already know me. All right, so very carefully, I'm actually going to go in. I'm going to cut this whole side off so I can see what I'm doing. So I'm going to go in here. Since we couldn't use the registrations, we're going to peel this half off. All right. This is why I love working with you guys live so we can work together. Because I already know you guys are probably screaming down below, telling me what to do. All right, so I think that's good enough because we just need enough because if you guys can see, there's a little nose gap in between, so I only need to come in so far. So I'm going to go ahead and do this. Now, never try to use a knife blade on top of your screen because obviously then you're going to cut it. That's immediately where my brain wants to go. It's like, oh, just take your knife blade, you know? So always just slow down and think about it before we went in and committed because we wouldn't have been able to see. We would have went in blind. I don't want to go all through this and then be like, So now before I do this, I'm going to line. This is how I'm going to try to line this up. All right. Perfection. There we go. I'm pumped. Okay, and then we have tape. Hold on. I have to grab this tape out of here. I may test it one more time. And then after this, I'll be able to press it, and then we're going to apply our, I'm going to look at it one more time, guys. I'm going to apply my HTV. Now, don't forget, we have a giveaway. If you guys are just now joining us, we are going to do our giveaway. We're going to draw our winner for the tumbler press, as well as 5 lucky winners for the 5 one-year gold membership. All right, so here we go. So let's go back into that red. And we are going to really start to push that in there. So we have learned, and then like I said, you could definitely do the ombre. So depending on how much you press into one side and then the other. So I'm really going to make sure I get in there. I'll start on it, get some more ink going here. Let's see here. I cannot wait until I'm done to go back and see. I always watch this stuff on the replay whenever I get home. I love reading all of your guys' comments. It absolutely makes my evening. All right, so we're going to go ahead and push, push, push. So don't forget, we are doing Q&A at the very end as well as the giveaway. And so I'm going to go ahead and just push, push, push in there. Now, if you guys are just now joining and you're wondering, why am I not just doing the normal screen print method? Because this is a thinner consistency. For one, it's going to want to cling to everything else. And it's a thinner consistency, so it's just not going to work the same. So what we're using it as is a stencil. And then if you guys missed the first half, you really, really want to push in. So we're going to push, push, push. And we have almost got it. And then you guys know my luck. And these are actually, I think, made to go like this. But knowing my luck, I've probably pushed it so much to where it's actually bled through this time. All right, so here we go. Now, once again, how cool would this be if we were to to be able to mix the colors, because you can make ultimately out of 5 colors, like 20 colors. All right, so here we go. We're gonna go ahead and peel it. Perfect. So once again, I got a little bit of that vintage look, but I'm not hating it. I'm here for it. I'm loving it. All right, so far we are a success, guys. All right, so let's go ahead and get ready to press. So the next thing we want to do is remove any sort of tape that we may have. And we want to also remove, give me a second, listen. This is what happens where you guys can't see. You know when you go to get your tape and then it's wrapped around your finger and I can't get it off. This is my craft life. All right, so get those out of our way. So I wanted to go and bring y'all up here because the next thing we want to do is very carefully lift this up and remove our Cricut mat. And I'm going to go ahead and replace it with another piece of paper. So carefully without touching that back, because with this is not normal sublimation ink. Obviously, it will bleed through to the other side. So you guys can see how our Cricut mat saved us, right? So we're going to go ahead and get that out of the way. But you can ultimately do the same thing if you have that cardboard insert. Use a piece of paper. I just use the mat for stability, if you will. I'm trying not to let this touch the other side. I'm like, you guys stay. There we go. And I'm making sure both of them are on there. So as long as you got both lined up where there's not going to go through the back, you're good. So as long as it's not going through the back. All right, I'm going to smooth everything out because I need to get my heat press on here. Perfect. Good. So the next thing we need to do is cover it with a piece of parchment. So I'm going to drop y'all back down really quick so y'all can even see what's going on here. So we're going to go ahead. You see, I've got that paper in there. And so that's protecting us. So if you don't put that paper, you're going to get a bleed to the other side. So protect your shirt. And then we're going to cover this right here. And we're going to press it that 385 for 40 seconds. We're going to go ahead and go right on top here. And we're going to hit go 385 for 40 seconds. So once again, we already know that this is a success. We were able to pull it off. So the foam dauber for the win. So I tried to take off excess still, but then really push it in. The paper definitely helped because you can see, look how much ink that did help absorb as well. So that's going to prevent it from going all the way through the other side. And I think that helps a little bit with that bleed, just a little bit. So we've got 13 more seconds. And then we're going to go ahead and drop this temp. I'm going to drop it to 315 for 30 seconds. I'm using Cricut Smart Material because that's the black I had today. It would be really cool as well to do the, like a glitter would be gorgeous as well. All right, let's see. Now remember with sublimation, those ink, the colors get brighter. So you guys see how much more brighter this was once we pressed it. So these are completely done. And these are dry and ready to go. I'm going to go ahead and continue to leave, since I'm going to press it with again. I'm going to go ahead and continue to leave that paper in there. And we're going to need a new piece of parchment. So y'all give me just a second. I think what I may do is I'm actually going to replace this paper. And I'm going to put another one. See how it went through? So that would have definitely went to your t-shirt. So let's go ahead and put one more before we press our HTV. That way, if any more of the ink just needs to release. So when we drop this press, I'm going to go ahead and drop my press while I'm at it to 315. That way it can start cooling down. That'll take a second. All right. And then we're going to do 30 seconds. So bringing down that temperature is not going to sublimate it again. So if you bring that temperature down, we're not going to, it's not high enough to sublimate. So we should not sublimate again. But just to protect the t-shirt, I'm going to make sure we do have cardstock in. I'll make sure I'm covering both sides here. There we have it. Y'all make sure y'all let me know in the comments below. What do you guys think about it? I'm super excited, especially if you guys don't have a sublimation printer and you guys are wanting to play around with these sublimation inks or play around with sublimation in some sort of way. So much fun. All right, here we go. Perfection. I love that vintage look. I'm going to bring that up really quick while we're waiting for that to come back down. Look at how cool that is. Is that not amazing? I actually really do like that. So y'all let me know if y'all like the vintage look. And once again, I'm not just saying that because technically it's a mistake. All right, so we're going to let that cool back down. Now, while that's cooling back down, before we press our final layer, which will be this one here, let's go ahead and start to answer some of these questions. So let's go ahead and get ready for Q&A. She's almost got it. Good job, Brittany. You got it, girl. Okay, team girls here. Hashtag girls. We've got this. You guys give her some claps down below. Give her some love. Give her some thumbs up. She's got this. All right, so let's go ahead and get ready for Q&A. So we've got a few questions. We'll pop up here and start to do that while this goes down. We're at 368. All right, let's see. Where can I get screens from? You can actually get these locally at a lot of craft stores, even a lot of big box stores, or even down below. I've got them linked down below to Amazon. And you can even get some knockoff brands. I would consider a knockoff like a cheaper alternative. And once again, you can make your own as well, but definitely locally or even online. All right, let's see here. What else do we have? All right, where can let's see, how easy is it to clean up? It's actually, I'll find out whenever I do go to wash these, and I'll let you guys know in the next live. So once again, make sure you guys come back there. Well, actually, and look, let me just do this. While we're waiting, let's do this. 2 seconds. Let's peel this, and let me try to wipe it with a baby wipe without the vinyl on here. So you guys can see, here's our mess. Out of our way, get our handy dandy baby wipes, which I would take it to the sink with soap and water. So I'm just trying to see. All right, it looks like it's coming out pretty good. I think it's going to stain the color, but it's definitely coming out. Now, when it comes to screens, make sure you guys, I'm going to put a whole bunch of time in here. Use soap and water. It's going to come out really quick. I highly recommend you do it right away. Once you're done with these, before you even move on to that part, go to the sink and start washing these things. All right, so here we go. What else do we have? Is the white really white? No, that's okay. So the white sublimation ink right here. So there is no sublimation white. It will actually bring down. So the white is here to bring down. So say, for example, this is a red. I want to make it a lighter red or want to make it a pink. Plus to create the other colors, you'll add this to bring it down and create browns. I mean, there's so many colors you can make. So that's what all of that's for. All right, let's see. If it's sublimation paint ink, couldn't you do it on paper, essentially creating a sublimation print? Yes, you can definitely do it. I wanted to see if it was possible doing it this way as a stencil. Another thing I was thinking too, without using the screen, you could ultimately put it on the t-shirt. So don't mirror it. Put the adhesive vinyl on the t-shirt, daub it. You would not need to daub it that much. You would definitely want to really make sure, if you're not using the screen, make sure you guys are really daubing off that excess, and then daub it and throw away that adhesive vinyl before you press. So you could definitely do away with the screen as well. All right, let's see here. Since you are dabbing it on, couldn't the design have been just one full piece? You know, it could have. It definitely could have. So ultimately, since we are dabbing it, that is something to consider. I was wanting to teach the 2 layers. So if you guys were doing screen print for sure, when you flood that ink, it is going to get those stars on that tape. So if you guys are wanting to learn that just to use regular screen print ink, that definitely is going to teach you. But yeah, true. If you want to do this again, use it all on one screen because you're just dabbing those areas. So yes. All right, where can you find the mix recipe for if you go to Artist Breeze website, which I believe we have the inks down below. If you go to that website, if you go to support, you'll actually see those colors. All right, let's see. I've got 338, so we'll go ahead and see if we've got any more. What type of vinyl did you use to make the screen? I actually used permanent. It was Starcraft, and I used matte, which you could use glossy or whatever you want to, but I used Starcraft permanent. All right, let's see here. Could you just not use the stencil on the shirt without the screen? Yes, and that was what I just answered. So that was a very good question. So as you can see, we both had the same idea there. So ultimately, you could do without the screen. I was hoping that the screen would help with that bleed and things like that, just to kind of help slowly bring it in there. So that was just my thought process. All right, let's see here. Could you have applied the HTV first? I thought about that, but then what would have happened, which since we did the stencil, technically we could have, but I don't know how that would have stained the vinyl, especially if you're using a white. I don't really know. Plus, that's going to go on the inside of our HTV, if that makes sense. So the HTV is going to go around around that paint. Does that make sense? So it's going to be going on top of it. Let's see here. I think we are almost there. We are at 3:30. So while we're waiting, let me go ahead and stop my screen share. I'm going to show y'all one more screen. So y'all just give me 1 second. Stop my screen share. And I'm going to pull up that Artist Free let's see, I'm going to pull up the color so you guys can see what I'm talking about. So since we have about 15 more, not seconds, but temperature to go down, we've got about 10 more now. I'm going to go ahead and just pull it up. So give me 2 seconds, guys. All right, so I am going to go ahead and share my screen again. So let me go ahead and get it going here. And so if we can go ahead and share the screen really quick, I can show you the color mixing chart just to kind of show you guys a little bit. So there we go. Perfect. So as you guys can see here, we can do, I'm going to go ahead and bring a full screen. So it comes with red. So if you don't notice, if you don't see any of these where it says red 1, white 10, then it includes it. So it includes red, yellow, blue, black, etc. Which is funny because the black looks purple before you press it and it's black. It's super nice. That black is amazing. So look at all these colors that you can create with this one box of 5. You can create all of these colors. So what you're going to do, and you see where that white's coming into play, you're doing 10 white, 1 the true red, 10 red, 1 to create this true red. That's the one I was talking about. So if you wanted something not so bright, this true red would be gorgeous. A few different colors of blue there as well. All right, so our heat press is ready. So let's go ahead and get this ready to go. Perfect. So I'm gonna go ahead and drop you guys back down. Now, once again, I am using Cricut Smart Vinyl. So when it comes to their material, I do let it kind of cool just a little bit because I have noticed it's not really a hot pill. It's more of a cold pill. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and get this on here. Just trying to line everything up. There we go. How stinking cute is this? I am obsessed. Adorable. All right, so we don't need a cover sheet this time because it's protected with our piece here. If it wasn't protected, if you have any ink, make sure you put a parchment paper on top. We're ready to go. We're going to do that 315 for 15 seconds. We're going to go ahead and hit go. Now, ultimately, if you wanted to as well, you could use your bigger heat press like this to do this project as well. But because we are using the Cricut one, I'm going to go ahead and carefully try to flip it over and press it. Well, I'm not actually going to. Since I have the paper in, since I have the paper in between, I don't want to risk it today, so I'm not going to press it again. I'm going to drop y'all back down because we have 3 more seconds. All right, here we go. So I'm going to go ahead. Once again, I let it cool a little bit. So when it comes to Cricut materials like the Smart material, I have just found that it's better of a cool pill. So if you ever go to start to peel this and you notice that it's coming up, you just need to let it cool down just a little bit. So I'm going to go ahead and just fan it like this for a little bit. Y'all let me know what you guys think about this. And I think it's going to let me go ahead and pull. And it's still warm, so it's trying to call me a liar today. It's like, we're working just fine. So you can see I'm still getting a little bit of that color coming up there because we pressed it again. And then what you want to do is I would let this sit for probably about 72 hours. And then I would throw it into the wash. So then once you get that wash, you should see that true effect. But because this is 100% polyester, we should not lose any of that color. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and bring it up here so you guys can see how stinking cute is this. I love it. And with the raglan sleeves with the black, because that black matches these sleeves, I just absolutely love the way this came out. I do love the vintage wash. If you don't want to see that vintage wash, because obviously that's not how this design was, you really want to make sure you're kind of pressing into that. Also, I would highly recommend, as you guys have recommended, just using one piece of adhesive vinyl, cutting the entire design since you're just stenciling, instead of trying to layer it. That's going to help you as well. That way, if you need to line anything back up, you're only going to be doing it with that one design. So there it is. Kind of bring it in a little bit so you guys can hopefully see a little bit better. So stinking cute. I love this. This is going to be one of my favorite projects that we have done in a while. Love, love, love. All right, so let's go ahead and get ready for the giveaway. All right, so here we go. So let's go ahead and get ready and click the button. Here we go. Good luck to everybody. We are ready. Dun, 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 dun. All right, so we are going. Good. I think we got it. Congratulations. We have, okay, well, we're going to spin again. Let's see here. I think it may have. Let's see here just a second. Okay, we've got it. All right, you have done amazing, Brittany. You've done amazing. All right, so the winner of the tumbler press is Deborah Nelson. Congratulations. I am so excited for you. All you have to do is reach out to Mel at designbundles.net. Let them know that you are the lucky winner of this tumbler press, and they will ship you over your prize. So make sure you join our Facebook community group as well, because we want to see what you're creating with that tumbler press. All right, so the other winners are right here. So we have already chose those. We already got those going on for you. So we have Angela Diaz, if I'm saying that correctly. I am so sorry if I'm not. We have Heather. I'm not even going to try to butcher your name. I'm going to do the first names. We have Angela, we have Heather, we have LaDonna. I think I was trying to say that one wrong. We have Patrick, and then we have Donna as well. So if you see your name here and it is you, make sure you definitely reach out to Mel at designbundles.net. Let them know that you are the lucky winner of the Gold Plus membership for 1 year, and you can start crafting with it today. So I'm so excited. I can't wait to see what you guys are creating. If you guys are using that Gold Plus membership, make sure you guys definitely check out our program Designscape and play around with those Plus products, because we have a bunch to offer. So thank you guys so much for joining us. Make sure you come back Wednesday for the dollar deal. I'm so excited. So I will see you guys on Wednesday. Bye for now.